and putting dinner on the table.
Yeah.
All right.
Should we jump into this one?
Let's do this.
This is one of our favorites on our
Oh
website,
my
and we
gosh.
put it on the website not long ago, and it exploded.
Everyone
So,
loved it.
We're showing you just some simple ways to even make it easier than the recipe that's on the website.
Exactly.
So here's our shortcuts.
Let's do it.
What are we starting with?
All right, I'm gonna have you cut up the chicken.
Okay.
So we're gonna have like 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds
Yep,
of chicken.
chicken.
And I like to use the tenderloins because it just makes them cook a little bit faster.
And they're nice because they're small, so they're easy to cut up. And lots of times they've already been, the fat's been, they're trimmed.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So a lot of times they're already trimmed, makes it really easy to cut it up. I'm just cutting it into some kind of bite-sized pieces.
Oh, that's perfect, especially for kids. All right, so
Yep.
while she's cutting that, I'm gonna push the saute button right here. So when you push the saute button, right now it says, there's a little button that says less, normal, or more. We're just gonna keep it at normal because it's fine. All right, so saute, then it's going to beep for you. After you push the saute button, it's gonna start heating up. Once it gets hot, I kind of just test it a little bit. Once it's hot, then I add my oil and other things.
How long does it take to get hot?
Sometimes like 2 minutes, sometimes like
Okay.
5. Lots
Just
of times,
depends.
even before it's hot, I'll just start cooking.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm in a hurry. It
Okay.
is what it is.
Right? This is real life.
Exactly. All right, so once it's heated up, we're just gonna add, about a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons
Yeah.
of olive oil. We're
Yep.
just gonna drizzle that into the top of the pot. Now I like when my oil gets hot, and then I do a trick and I lift my pot up and just kind of wiggle my oil around so it covers all the bottom of my Instant Pot.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Kristen's
I'm
full
fancy.
of Instant Pot tricks. That's why we call her the Instant Pot master.
There we go. Once the oil is heated up, ready to go, Camille is gonna add our chicken.
Yep.
You ready?
Kristen gets scared to touch raw chicken, so that's why I'm doing it.
I appreciate that.
If your oil's hot, it should sizzle at this point.
Yes.
Ours is still warming up, but that's okay.
You can hear it a little bit. Now, this makes a lot of rice and other things, so this is a lot of chicken. If you have a smaller family, you could even cut this recipe in half or even in fourths.
Totally.
I mean, you just make sure you cut all the ingredients down, but the timing will be the same. You cook it for the same amount. All right, so once the chicken starts to cook on the bottom, you kind of just flip it around a little bit. I kind of stir as I go. Is that horrible?
No, that's what I do too, just to make sure that it all gets evenly cooked. I'm gonna
Right.
throw the onion in there too.
Please do.
Just to add some more flavor. Let that cook in the oil.
Nice. I think that's one of my favorite smells is cooking chicken and onions together.
Well, let's make it even better and add some garlic.
All right, how much garlic are we gonna add?
I think just a teaspoon, or what, 2 cloves? Sorry, I'm just grabbing a spoon.
No, it's fine. Yeah, 2 cloves. That sounds good.
So we're just using jarred garlic. A half teaspoon of this equals a clove. This is one of my favorite shortcuts, so
Oh.
you don't have to chop fresh garlic.
I think all 6 of us
I know.
Use that shortcut
We
because
love it.
I don't like pressing my garlic.
Yep. Okay, so the seasonings we're gonna add, I'm just doing like a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. You can totally eyeball this. Don't feel like you need to measure it out. You can go Rachel Ray style, pour it in your hand and then dump it in.
We're not fancy like that.
Yep. If you want to add other seasonings that you like, you could. You could do some Italian seasoning. You could do a
Yeah.
little bit more like garlic powder if you love the taste of garlic. I mean, however you like to season it,
You can add a little more.
totally works.
We love like a little bit more salt, so I usually add about a tablespoon of salt into this recipe.
You do?
I do. I love salty things.
I didn't know that about you.
Yep.
Learn something new every day.
Yep.
All right, so once the chicken kind of has some browning around the edges, I mean,
Right.
you can cook this as much or as little as you want. It just really is to seal in the flavor, kind of make the chicken have some added moisture, I would say.
Yeah, and I think a little bit of flavor too. It gives
Yep.
it some saute.
100%. So now, from this point, it's just kind of a dump and go.
Right?
So we're adding in 2 cups of rice. Now in the recipe, it says it a little bit differently, but
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
showing you this is the simple way to make it dump and
It's
go.
like the dump and go
Yep.
version. Yep.
Totally.
All right.
So I'm doing 2 cups of white rice. If you want to, you can rinse the rice before you dump it in. Totally up to you.
Yep.
But I'm just gonna go ahead.
We
throw
don't
that
judge you
in.
either way if you rinse your rice or not.
Do your
There's
own
no
thing.
judging.
Okay, and then I'm gonna do about 2 cups of chicken broth.
Nice.
Just kind of pour that right in.
There we go. All right, so the secret when you're cooking
do a little bit
rice in the Instant Pot is you want to make sure that the rice every single kernel of rice touches the liquid, because if it doesn't, you're gonna have some hard pieces of rice there. So that's what we're gonna do.
Didn't know that.
Now you know.
Okay, I've got half a cup of water going in too.
Okay.
Just some added moisture for that rice. Now I've got a can of cream of chicken soup. If you want to, if you're feeling super domestic, you can make your own. But for simplicity, I just use a can of this. You can get, they make a healthier option.
Reduced fat.
Yeah, reduced
kind.
fat, which works great. It's not coming out.
There we go.
Okay, so add that in there. And then the last thing we are gonna throw in is a bag of frozen vegetables, and they are still frozen.
They are.
So,
Which I think works better because you're gonna cook all the vegetables, rice, and chicken all at the same time.
Yep.
So I think frozen vegetables works better because then they'll cook.
yeah, they won't be super
They
mushy.
won't be soggy.
Yep. So
All right,
I'll dump
just
those
dump it in. Yep.
Give it a good mix.
Just gonna mix it around, make sure all the rice is covered by the liquid. And I think we're good to go.
Good to go.
So we have our lid now, we're all ready to go. Now remember, while we were putting this together, it's still on saute, which is okay. I guess I should put the lid on correctly, huh? Okay, so we're putting the lid on. We're gonna turn this little knob to sealing, not venting. Make sure I can see this here. Now, because it is on saute, first you have to push cancel. So you're gonna push the keep warm cancel button just to turn it all the way off. Then you're gonna push the manual button. Now, if you don't have a manual button, you'll have a pressure cook button. It's the same thing, manual, pressure cook, you're good. All right, so then we're gonna go up to 6 minutes. Now we can do 6 minutes because our chicken is little. It's already been sauteed. The rice only takes about 6 to 7-ish minutes to cook, and the vegetables only take about 2 minutes to cook, but they still taste good together.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of the same amount of time. That's why you can all cook it together.
Awesome.
All right, so you heard it little beep. Once it says on, you can just walk
Walk
away.
away.
So it's all done cooking. We cooked it for about 6 minutes. You can go up to 7 if you want, but because it's done, we're gonna turn it over to a quick release. Here we go. Once all the pressure's out, then you can open the lid. Just beware of the steam because it gets toasty. All right, so if you can see this. Now it looks like there's a lot of liquid on top, but once you mix it around, there's some rice that still needs a little bit of liquid and it will all